folks, I have an important update in the cannabis stock sector. Of course, it's Neptune Wellness again. That's NEPT. July 3rd is the time in the afternoon, around 2:30 Eastern. So, I mean, if you're looking at Neptune Wellness, if you pull up that chart, and if you were looking at it before, if you say the 30-minute, you'll be very familiar that it came down to 420 on July 2nd in the morning, 10 a.m. I was able to buy a bunch at 420, 422, and 425 on these between 7.2 and 7.3. It was 7.2 in the morning, this whole whatever, and the next day or the day before. Anyway, right. This thing came down to 420, right? And it was red before it, blue after it. So I didn't expect it. I thought this was going to just kind of go up and down in this range for some time, like it was just kind of been doing. Well, I hope it would shoot up. But now, finally, check out the daily chart. Switching from the 30-minute interval to the daily interval. This gives you a bigger picture. Now, every time I don't even care what the volume is. Every time you see a hammer like this after a bunch of reds, look at this one. Okay, let's rewind back to March 22nd. Looks like March 25th, 2019. The RSI that day was, we're talking like 38, 40. I mean, RSI is not really low. Okay, it's almost 45. And 760,000 volume. 700. That's a lot of volume compared to what we're going to look at. Because so right now what we have is, look at this hammer. That's a distinct hammer. That's yesterday. That's volume 450,000. This is whenever I was like, okay, you see a couple like that, and I'm buying this puppy right here. Now this one was the last one it did, and you might say, what about this one versus that one? Well, the difference between this one and this one, it opened up high the next day, and if you kind of ignore this day, which didn't really do much on this, almost a doji, and it did kind of climb a lot. So this one went from a low of 404 to a high of 463. So I think that's a massive 20% or something. This hammer is freaking badass right here. Now, that's on June 14th. So that's what we're looking for, at least something like that. And that's like a fourth of the size of the Bollinger Band. This is free. This red hammer this would be hard to spot, but this would be like ideal too. But anyway, I wouldn't. That's hard to see that, and you'd have to have a closer than a one-day perspective on this hammer. Something must have happened intraday whenever they had those two deals, or the second of those two extraction deals. Okay, what just happened today on July 23rd? Here's the big news: look at this double hammer. All right. Enough said. We have the first hammer. It's the low at 420. Close at 438. Now, July 3rd, the open at 438. Now, if it had opened above 438, then it would just be like brutal. I mean, but the problem is the volume's like 259,000. I mean, that's kind of a small concern, but the shape is there, so this is about to go upwards. This is pointing double. This is called a confirmation. It not only started without, at least it didn't fall at all. It went straight. It fell a little bit after opening, only to 430, which is like super high considering, I mean, the previous day it opened at 431, hit down to 420, and then look at this hammer. 450 is where the high is, and very importantly, that's where the close is. There's no wick at the top of this hammer. at all. And there's like almost no wick at the one from yesterday. There's no wick at the top of these red bars. The last 4 days, there's just like no wick at the top. That means this puppy's going upwards, folks. That's what that means, all right? And all these wicks down here, when you see the wicks falling on one side, that means it's pointing in the other direction, all right? So look at that. Of course, when it goes up, I mean, this thing is ready. All right? It's had its news, it's had its extraction deals, it's had 2-3 year extraction deals, and the RSI is not accurate. It's just, it says it's around 50, but it's just climbing. I mean, okay, the RSI on this certain, there is good news on the RSI too. I was looking at the, so you have the 14-day RSI. Let me add let's add the 5-day RSI. And it's just stable. I mean, I'm calling that good news because I thought I saw something else. I thought I saw it go down somewhere. It might have been, let's see. No, I mean, it's not high at all. The RSI is not going high, and that we got two hammers, and it's a hammer confirmed. That's the end of the video. I mean, okay, so if you don't know what a hammer is, you have to go to Google and you can go to Wikipedia or any Investopedia, search for the word hammer chart candlestick pattern, and you'll see something just like both of these. And whenever you see two of them like this, angling upwards, that's hammer confirmed. That's 2 days with very strong positive buying emotions. Now, I wish this lower tail here today, I wish this puppy went lower today. Then it would have been because today, I mean, that's just barely a hammer. I mean, if the wick was shorter, it wouldn't, it's almost not even a hammer, but that's a confirmation. It's an upwards blue. It's a hammer. I'll take that. And yesterday, look at that. The wick should be 3 times the size of the body for it to be a hammer. So honestly, today is like almost a hammer, but it's got a heavy blue more than yesterday. Anyway, and yesterday was more of a hammer. Of course, this one, and they say the longer that wick is, that's going to be proportional to how good the jump will be. See this hammer, but it's not in the right place exactly. You could have bought on this hammer, which would be a low at 424, high at 554. This thing is just going up, and this is a very big range here. Okay, so I wanted to put a lot of emphasis on these two hammers in a row. Okay, like the last time it did something like jumped, it didn't give you that daily confirmation. The daily confirmation, I think, is going to be, I mean, if you look at the daily chart and see a confirmation like this, that's the one that everyone's going to have time to look at overnight. People are going to have about 12 hours to look at the charts overnight. They're not going to have that much time to look at a 30-minute chart midday, intraday, unless something happens, say, at the end of the day, which here we are. You could be looking at the 30-minute chart and you're looking at this. Oh, okay. Yeah, so when I pulled up the 30-minute chart, it changed my 5-day RSI. I guess the RSI is calculated depending on, oh shit, that's going to be the last 5 intervals. So it's only going to look at 5 intervals. I think that might be what it's doing because I'm on the 30-minute interval. That's interesting. So that's why when I pulled up the 5-day RSI, anyway, you'll see huge fluctuations at that point, especially in the 5-day. Yes, you'll see the RSI is climbing even in this 30-minute interval RSI. So the RSI is climbing. No, it's not climbing. Look at that. 54. We're fine. Okay, it's not too high. It dropped down here. It dropped all the way down to 22-ish, 2014. And that was at that hammer down here. The only one thing you might argue would be that, well, why am I ignoring the location of the Bollinger Band? This hammer was so nice because, and it was confirmed here, even after this confirmation, it closed at 436, which is actually where I bought it first, was after this hammer. No, I bought it at that price, 435, but it was way back. Anyway, let's see. So we're in the 30-minute chart. Yeah, I just wanted to close out with see what happened in the last few hours of the day today. Let's check that out. I'm in the 30-minute chart, so the day started right here, and it was very upwards. And so these three. Okay, I think I've seen this pattern. Oh, okay. All right, I remember this pattern right here. This is awesome. This is a 30-minute chart interval, which is one of the most common, popular. They say check out the 30-minute, 1 minute. I don't know what 5, maybe I don't know if one was on the list or 30-minute is one of the most popular intervals. And this, I've seen this right here. This is called the three wise men, right? And you want to see the red on both sides. I think you want to see the red on both sides here, and you want to see these three blue bars, just like that. I think if this one didn't fall here, it would have been probably better, I bet. If they say that whenever you look at where the red bar falls to, you want it to be above the 50% point of the, I think, second bar. So you want it to stay above the second day's earnings, so it's still 1.5 days up. And it's exactly where, if that's what I would have to look at with the wise men. Let's just see. Okay, let's see. Candlestick. Candlestick chart. Three wise men. Three white soldiers. Yeah, that's what it's called. They call them white because in a hollow candlestick, its green is white. Three white soldiers is a bullish to predict the reversal of the downtrend. I mean, unfortunately, it wasn't a huge downtrend, but it's just the news it's reacting to. But I guess these candlesticks should not have a very. It was a kind of a downtrend. Yeah. From 450 to 420 or 460. These candlesticks should not have long shadows, and ideally open within the real body of the preceding. Oh, okay. They wanted it to fall, so that third day was actually further. This is actually. This is exact, folks. It fell. No, open at 440, 22, close at 440. Oh, it fell. All right. So this is exactly fell. It fell like 1/4 of a penny on open, and on this day it fell. Let's see, on open is 444. Close is 44. Yep, it fell 0.45, about 0.5 cent here. It fell about under 0.5 cent on this day, and they say that for some reason you want to open within the previous candle's real body, and that's what it did. Barely, which is awesome. And close that exceeds the previous candle's high. Of course, yeah, they're going upwards. These candles should not have long shadows and open within the real. Oh, they just said that. They open within the real body of the candle. But what happens with the one after the crow or soldier? Here we go. I think you don't care what happens after. Let's see. There's something after it. Hold on here. So basically what I'm talking about is we have three white soldiers between 11:30, 12, and 12:30 p.m. in the Neptune chart. That's July 3rd. I'm trying to figure out 3 white soldiers. This looks exactly, and this is pretty high volume. Wow. Well, we're looking at the 30-minute chart, and is that real? What? That's like the whole day's volume on those soldiers. Whoa. Okay. That volume is kind of, for 30 minutes, if you look at the 30-minute chart volume and you just ignore anything with low volume, you just ignore all these, even this one is 136,000. It barely shows up on the chart. And it's 300, and then there's a stack of them. What is this stack? If you look at the stack, it's starting from this looked like a hammer in the daily. When it dropped to 420, I thought, and then the day after, which is today. But this is what it looks like in the 30-minute. It looks different than 2 hammers. This looks like 2 hammers in the one day. In the 30-minute, it looks like 5 blues, 2 reds and a tiny little doji. That's a straight up 442, 420, of course. I would have told you. I call this 420 and 442. This is like Neptune is really magnetized to those 2 numbers, 420 and 442. That's obvious. You could tell by this doji. Come on now. But back to the point is that white soldier limitation. It says how to trade the white soldiers. In some cases, there's a short period of consolidation following the 3 soldiers pattern, but the short and intermediate term bias remains bullish. That means it's best to buy it right after the soldiers when it has that short-term consolidation after the soldiers. That's a good time, like right now. Move, that's 442. That sounds so expensive compared to what I bought it at. Move higher could also reach resistance levels where the stock could experience consolidation. They're just using words, okay? They're just saying it's good, though. They're still saying that. The difference between black and white is that they're opposite. Thank you. All right. And limitations of the white soldiers. Here we go. It could be a continuation trend of the existing trend, which, yeah. One of the key things to watch is the volume supporting the formation of the 3 soldiers. Any pattern on a low volume is suspect. This is a high volume white soldiers, folks. We're good on that one. And I'm talking 300,000 in 30 minutes. This whole stock only gets that much. I don't know. I'm talking about something like that, right? Those are high volume 30-minute sticks. Decent. 500,000. Is that a 30-minute period? 360, 380. And you look at a normal, these dojis, it's just like 10, 14, 20, up to 300. Okay, we got our soldiers. 3 white soldiers, folks. I just found it right here, right now, and we're talking 11:30 a.m. on July 3rd up until 12:30 p.m. July 3rd in the 30-minute chart of Neptune. I like those soldiers. I like the volume on those soldiers, and if you zoom out on that 30-minute chart, what I like is that, and let's pull the range out to a month. Let's do something, or it's 5 days. I kind of don't know. There we go. I want to see these volumes, and I want to see if there's anything that can match Like, I want to see if that's like, look at that. I don't know what I'm. Okay, there. This is just high volume right here. Very high volume on the soldiers. I just learned what that term was, so maybe it's. You could look back here. There's some soldiers that looks pretty accurate, but they're not very huge, and there's no volume on the first one at all. You could almost not count them. And these are low volume, 367,000. They're all under 70,000, and we're talking 360,000, 520,000, 300,000. These are 10 times as strong. These are some crows of some sort. Just a quantity of smaller ones. This is my pick, folks. It's Neptune. The crows have arrived. Not the crows. Sorry, these are actually soldiers. While they're white ones. I prefer hollow candle for being colorblind. There's my white soldiers right there. And I really don't know what the hell this puppy. What are we looking at here? Volume. No volume. What is it? They just wanted to put 442. All right. No volume on whatever this is. So it just dropped, and they didn't even have a volume measurement at 1 p.m., which is, let's refresh it. All right, guys. After hours. All right. The day has ended, I guess. No, I don't know what that. It's 1 p.m. All right. 4:50. Yeah. So the day hasn't ended. So I might have made it sound like the daily is over. When you do look at the daily, and even today, hey, something might happen here. But I'm seeing 3 crows midday. So that's. You want to note that these are midday crows, guys. So. And this is insane volume midday crows on the Neptune. I'm scared to buy it at 442, but that looks like the doji price. The crows. Let's be okay. So they say that they could have some consolidation after your crows, right? Let's say if it consolidates to the bottom of this wick, that would be 437. I think you're safe buying it at 435. I think you're safe buying it at probably 433, 432, 430. Hell, this thing could hammer, so I think this could give a really big hammer, and as part of the consolidation, I think it'll maybe consolidate a little bit and just give a huge hammer before just taking off, maybe. But I don't expect it to have a lot of body in the below 435. You'll just see some wicks, I think, falling down there, or below 430, 435. Anyway, this thing's so one argument might be that this thing's above the top of the Bollinger Band. It's way above the top of the Bollinger Band. Like it's not like that, but it's there for 3 days in a row. And I think this Bollinger Band just doesn't take account of the news. All right. And so I'm hoping that these crows will negate the Bollinger Band, and this guy's going to recalculate. It's going to have to. With this much volume and interest with these not crows but soldiers, I think we're good to go, folks. Neptune Wellness. I'm going to take a quick look here. What's going on with these other guys? CTST finally bounced again, almost at 510. It hit 512, I think, yesterday. MJ looks like it moves pretty slowly. And Zennabis is definitely going to fall. I want to check out VFF real quick. go to the 1 day. Oh man, for VFF. Oh my goodness. I mean, somehow it pulled 3 cents in the after hours, and whatever that means. It's not even after hours. Is that lunchtime? Okay, yeah, I don't trade enough. And I wanted to look at ZBISF, Zennabis, supposedly the third most surface area for swag fields in the world, or whatever they do there. Look at this. This is a very emotional. I'm very emotional on July 1st for Rich TV followers and Zennabis owners. Wow. We're talking high of. Wait, am I reading this right? No. This thing didn't go to 220. No way. Okay, so Zennabis goes from 150 to 220, closes at 167. Still has a green day after. Now I'm confused what the difference between blue and white is on these holo charts. I'm pretty I have no. Just trying to make up reasons, but I don't know. These are all 3 green. We're kind of looking at, but this one fell a lot between these two. I think that's what. Anyway, so if you look at Zennabis, then all right, 1 day. Actually, okay. This thing kind of like feels like it's going kind of downwards like a motherfucker because whenever you have a wick on the upside, that's going down, folks. That's like, and whenever you have these upside down hammers that are called, I believe, gravestone, whatever they're called, gravestones or something. Well, this is a bullish gravestone, so it's not at the bottom of the Bollinger Band, though, and so in my study it said it doesn't matter as much the color of your gravestone, it matters more the location of your gravestone. So the fact that this is a green candle, it might as well be red in terms of the fact that it's pointing downwards. So in terms of pattern, and then the day after that, I don't want to, this is like, my eyes are closed after this. This is like, but how did it hit people are buying it at $3, so people are buying it at $2. It must be like machines buying it at $2 very carefully, or that's just like some beginners. Okay, so 30-minute Zennabis. I don't usually pull up the Zennabis 30-minute. They don't have a lot of volume. There's never anything to see on this guy. It's like, okay, it updates you to let you know that old Rich TV bought some more. Old Rich bought some more of it. And so in the 30-minute chart, now the RSIs, 30-minute RSI doesn't tell you much, I guess. So 1 day RSI, 14, 56, 56. It's right now at the top of the Bollinger Band. I was scared as fuck on the first. After the first, it's like, I didn't even see this high though, 220, which I'd like to see that in the 30-minute. So we're going to rewind to wherever it shot out of the, way off the charts to 220, which is good and bad. It's probably really bad that I did that, because now it's going to fucking, anytime you draw a line, you might end up like, if you pay attention to your wicks, I mean, I guess when you draw your line, sometimes you draw lines using the body, in which case that's good news. You can ignore that, and everything's kind of tight still. So that's I guess a positive thing that it didn't open or close up here. Except for this, what the fucking okay. Oh, it opened up. Oh, this is in the 30-minute chart. It opened up at $2. $2 with no volume. Oh, no volume. It doesn't count. That's an anomaly. There's nothing on there. Somebody offered it for $2 and nobody bought it, I think. Yep. Okay, so somebody's just randomly offering $2, and they'll just sell one stock up there at 220, and it'll just make this penny stock look funny. That's it. I really don't. Maybe more. Maybe it's something more than that. But the low is 150. Open is 150. Okay. So looking at Zennabis on the first, that's whenever everything started, just on this day right here, which is a low at 139, high at 141. It has its own crows of some sort. I mean, soldiers. And you're seeing tails on top. You're seeing wicks on top, and as in this guy. Well, this is not okay. These are low, so it could mean this. These are okay. So if you see a gravestone, it could mean a change of direction coming. Like this one, to be specific. This one here at no volume. All right. So I don't see anything in this chart. Except for a while. So I wanted to see that. Let's zoom into the 5-minute and whatever that's just black. That's high is 220. 7,000 people. Go to the 1 minute. How many people got ripped off? 5,000 people bought this up to around probably around $2 or 220. Only 5,000 people. Somebody put in a $5,000 buy at 220. That's what that means. So, okay, so again, we're midday on the 3rd. Pull back to daily. And you're going to see and this day is not even done, so is it going to go down? Yes, folks. This puppy is going way down. It's not going up. It's going down. Let me be very clear. I'm predicting 3 crows. I'm predicting like 5 puppies that are red crows. Let's call them red, not black, just so we are clear. It already opened at 150.103, close at. It actually opened at 151, close. It actually opened above the close. Wow. People are still like confused. Somebody actually bought it. 145, open, 151, close. Some people bought this piece of crap right here between these 2 days. Some people bought it overnight. That's just a mystery. Kind of. I mean, they're just like, this is a big red block here. There's nothing green coming yet. They're slowing it down, I guess. they brought it up actually to 164. Wow. So if you actually did buy it at close 149, you could have still sold it at 164 and made your 6%. Anyway, this is just like, I don't recommend Zennabis. I would recommend Zennabis at 105 or 101. You can put in your limit buys at one something, maybe this one, 122 if you're confident. And if you're a rich TV, you can go for 126. Actually, 126 is what I would go for if I was seriously trying to buy it. And maybe add some support at 122, maybe 112. 121 is not a bad price. Obviously 120 because it rhymes with 420. And I think we are done. Of course, I like to see MJ. It's gotten so slow. It's really like not. It doesn't like to drop below 31 or go above 32. And it's probably a good thing right now. In a one-day chart like that, it's almost a hammer in the one-day chart. And it's kind of weird looking at a one-day chart in the middle of the day. And the 30-minute chart shows a whole bunch of volume. Again, on July 3rd, which is, and July 2nd, and July. Okay, so we're looking at some good news for. Wow. Okay, so this. Yeah, I was looking at these two earlier today. The two morning. You had two in a row, green. And they're kind of alternating, but they're still going up every time. So this one closed at 31.70, but it closed above the halfway point of the previous green bar, so it's not a bad. It's not really it's a doji for sure, but it's not even. This one it's not a big deal because it does the same thing. It closes above the halfway point of whatever this is. So it's just climbing. And then you have this one. It's good because it's green. But then, now this one, we're not done with this interval. But we need this one to close above the halfway point of that one. So let's zoom in to 15 minute. Let's take it down to like, let's say 5 minute. And they're alternating, except for it's always like 3 and 2 more. It's always like more blues and reds. And in this case, like 3, 4 in a row. In the 5 minute, people are buying MJ more than they're selling it. But when you look for the big patterns, 31, 35 to. It's not a huge percentage jumping 1 out of 30, but within a day. Okay, so it's jumped up to 32 now. So when they say after hours, I think they're talking about between interval, or it's kind of. Okay, here we go. And the 1 minute jumped to 32. No one's buying it. That's all it is. Someone's offering it at 32 in the 1 minute interval. Interesting. It's kind of a high price if you zoom way out. Well, it was at 32 just yesterday. It seems like when it hit 32, it dropped pretty solid. So if you pull out to the last month, it hits 33.18, 32.64, 31.81. Oh no, 32.14, and it's almost at 32 again. Pretty. It didn't really drop that much this time around. Definitely set a higher low that time. Looks like some kind of a downward wedge, or if you started right here, you got a wedge. You definitely, if you start here, yep. That's way back in the low. I mean, the December low. You don't want to do that. It's just kind of, what's this? Yeah, weed stocks dropped really bad at the very beginning, I guess at the beginning of June, or the ending of May. Anyway, all right, folks. This video's gotten long, but I did enjoy looking at Neptune, which is the stock to buy.